like you said, I want Varsho to have a long leash to start, but come June or July, he's struggling against lefties. There's an in-house switch that you can make just to give you a little bit more of an edge.
Patreon.com/the Walk Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there. Espinal in the outfield. This is an idea you had. We were texting about it last week. You have the floor, Joel. This is your idea. Just explain how you feel about Espinal as a fourth outfielder.
Yeah, so Espinal's an infield. This is not me trying to reclassify Santiago Espinal as an outfielder all of a sudden. But last year, if you're familiar, if our audience is familiar with Espinal playing fourth outfield when we did the 4 outfielder shift,
right,
where we would put 4 outfielders in the outfield, he would be pulled over way in the right field side. You got outfielders pretty much in your gaps in this position, but he was comfortable playing that spot. Now, what I'm talking about with Espinal is the fact that when it comes to left-handed hitting, he's actually one of our best hitters on the team. Last year, OPS wise, I think it was about 820, 830 against lefties, which is really, really solid. So my concept is Santiago Espinal's probably a better player for this team around 350, 400 at bats, used very specifically, as opposed to trying to get him 500, 550 at bats. Okay. If you're getting his at bats to be closer to 50-50 righty lefty, then his OPS is going to go up and he's going to be more effective in a shorter period. If you try to get him in as a starter, his weaknesses are sniffed out, and we kind of see him falter a little bit last year in the second half, especially. So I feel like it's a situation where Varsho's issue with lefties is pretty big. He hits 550 against lefties, 550, and Espinal is 830. So defensively, defensively in that situation, when you're up against the lefty, it can be an interesting little platoon situation where you're putting an infielder in the outfield, but his bat may trump at least Varsho when he's up against lefties and that 550 OPS that he brings to the table. So it's a situation where it gets a 300-point OPS jump out of a player that is sitting on your bench, right? So it's something, and we don't have a fourth outfielder as of yet, unless I'm missing something that happened this morning. So if we're really adamant about Witt being our second baseman to start the year, Bose at short, Chapman third, to use this opportunity to get Espinal comfortable in the outfield so that he's already comfortable to go out there last year in a limited sense.
As a rover.
I feel like I feel like
you can slow pitch players that are watching a rover.
Yeah, he was our rover last year. So to expand on that, as a fourth outfielder, if you're having an outfield issue, if Springer's down, the other two can slot so easily to center field. Varsho can slot to center field. I mean, well, they are going to slot to center field because Springer's going to be in the corners. But it's a situation where if Espinal can get comfortable in the outfield, especially when there's a lefty on the mound, he can bring something to the team.
So you're suggesting when a lefty's on the mound, Varsho sits?
If he doesn't improve his 550 OPS, I think so, because I don't want 550 OPS in that lineup against lefties. That is a pitcher coming up to the mound.
Yeah,
that is an abs. Yeah, and I don't want a spot that is just dead in the lineup.
I'm with you there. I do think that because he's one of the shiny new toys, he's going to get a long leash to figure that OPS out. Like I do think with the banning of the shift and the new ballpark that he's playing in and all these factors, I do think that even like a slow start in April, we're not gonna, as a team, I don't think we're gonna pull the plug and be like, yeah, he still can't hit lefties. But it is maybe a more long-term consideration. And
it's kind of what we were doing last year at the beginning of the year when they were making platoon shifts in game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember that, but like Cavan would be up. They would start him at second. A lefty would come in the fifth. Espinal would come in, finish off the game.
Yeah.
And it was kind of that idea of like Varsho can play 7 innings of a game, but if they bring in the lefty reliever to face him in the 8th,
Mm-hmm.
that's an ideal spot to switch him out for Espinal, take 2 innings of his outfielding ability in sacrifice for, an attempt to win it, a jump at 300 OPS against a left-handed pitcher. So it's
Yeah, I like that.
situational, right?
I like it. I also, again, I don't want to see it right from April, but if we're talking like by the summer, if Varsho's numbers against lefties haven't improved, I'm also fine with like Espinal starting the game if it's a lefty on the mound, potentially, right? And then having,
Absolutely.
lefty's out of the game in the 6th inning. Now we bring in Varsho.
Exactly, and you switch it right back, right? It's not so much of a platoon as it is an entire game platooning, but situationally willing to, if you're losing and you need a run, make that swap, which is, and you don't have to. We were just sitting there, and I think we've talked about Andrew McCutchen and wanting him to be our 4th outfielder and what he brings as a righty swing against lefty bats and kind of having a platoon there. But internally, we do have a guy who swings pretty good against lefties. So, and he is good defensively, at least on the infield. So hopefully some of that can transition. And like you said, situationally down the road, like you said, I want Varsho to have a long leash to start, but come June or July, he's struggling against lefties. There's an in-house switch that you can make just to give you a little bit more of an edge.
I like it. Options. We know this team is a big fan of options. So who knows? Maybe they have some creative solutions up their sleeve like that. We'll see how it plays out.